Welcome to Grow Groups at Port City. I'm so glad you decided to join us this first week of Grow Groups. We're starting a new series in the Song of Solomon. This is the first of 5 or 6 weeks that we're going to look at what it means to have godly relationships. The Song of Solomon was a book written by Solomon about 1,000 years before the birth of Christ. It's a book that can really be viewed from 2 different standpoints or viewpoints. The first is an allegory of the relationship between Christ and the church. Or secondly, what I believe is the most accurate way to look at it, and just to look at it at face value. Oftentimes the most or the simplest interpretation is the best interpretation. And at face value, it's an example or a testimony of a love relationship between a man and a woman. And so as we navigated chapter 1, the beginning of chapter 2, we pulled out certain principles. And there's really 4 qualities that we talked about, 4 qualities that you should develop in your life. Whether you have relationships or not, you should develop these 4 qualities. And you should look for these 4 qualities in your romantic relationship, and you should look for these 4 qualities in your deep friendships. Okay? So the first one was develop a godly character. It's the baseline, godly character. You have to have it. It's the foundation for everything else. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then everything else will be added to you. So godly character is essential. We have to go to the scriptures and learn how to develop godly character. It's what gives us a foundation for our friendships, for our relationships with our family, and for our relationships with our spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., wherever you are in that spectrum of relationships. The second one is that we have to grow in trust. We have to grow in trust. We have to grow in our ability to trust, and we have to grow in our trustworthiness. So we have to go both ways. Normally the way trust begins to develop is one or another person shares with the other some insecurity, oftentimes starts with a physical insecurity. And then they watch and observe how we handle that trust. And as we handle that trust, then often we'll move into more emotional insecurities. All the while, we're kind of feeling each other out, whether friends or a romantic relationship. We're feeling each other out to determine, are you trustworthy? And we should be trustworthy. And guys, I speak as a guy, we are sometimes the world's worst at this. We will take moments of vulnerability that our significant other, our girlfriend or our wife or love interest or even a friend that shares with us, and oftentimes we'll make a joke out of it. We'll kind of pick on them about it. And we have to be careful that we're not eroding trust instead of growing trust. The third is higher standards. We have to develop the standards of Christ. The life giver, the one who breathed life into man, said that he wants to give us life and life more abundantly. So if the life giver gives standards and guidelines for relationships, then there's really no question what we should do. Now, I address specifically sexual issues between couples, whether married or unmarried. And I really came down to this. You have 2 choices when it comes to sexual issues. Honor God together or sin together. It's just that simple. Honor God together or don't honor God at all. And so you have to be sure. It's hard to stand up and worship, and it's hard to say, I'm a devout follower of Jesus when I'm disregarding his standards and when I'm choosing to sin instead of pursue him. The third was consistent encouragement. So as we grow in trust and as we develop these standards, we encourage one another along the journey. And it is in that encouragement then that we find our sense of worth, where we're made to feel special, or we make the person next to us or near us feel special, and ultimately where we give a sense of security. So there's a consistent encouragement. No matter where you are on the relationship spectrum, friends, dating, engaged, married, almost ready to kick the bucket married. Wherever you are on the spectrum of relationship, you have to give consistent encouragement. That's how we overcome our insecurities together. That's how we grow stronger. But if I could just go back to one thing, the foundation is develop a godly character. And that can only be accomplished by spending time with the life giver. Spend time in prayer with him, spend time in his word, and spend time with other believers like you're doing right now, growing together and learning what it looks like to have godly character. And then be willing to make whatever adjustments are necessary. So here's my question for you before you dive into your grow group with your group. Which one of these four do you need to work on this week? Which one of these is like, man, I've got to do some major changes on this one this week? And I want you to start praying that God will give you wisdom. And if you need help, can I encourage you? Ask someone. Look for someone who is of 2 or 3 steps ahead of you and tell them, I need help in this area. Walk with me. Encourage me. I hope you guys have a great grow group. And I hope this series in the Song of Solomon is as challenging to you in your relationships as it has been to me. God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.
You knock me off of my feet now, baby. Woo!